have to go on the attack. Dropout on YouTube is the one place where I'm like, they are actually funny.
Come on, girl.
Costume descriptions of mutants from the concept art of the battle at the X Mansion in Avengers Doomsday.
Okay. The math is mathing. They made so much money off of that first Batman that of course would want that second movie coming back quicker, and they have been delaying it. And James Gunn is like, I need that script before I even look at anything. And I can see him being a little frustrated that it's taking too long.
For Clayface, are you going to deal with actors having to struggle with AI and AI replications of their work? James Gunn said, yeah, that is what the Clayface movie is going to be dealing with. You're going to be dealing with an actor who's out of work because things are taking his job. Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson Batman becoming the official DCU Batman?
Rumors. New X-Men costumes?
Rumors. MCU Source on Twitter, a bigoted rage bait piece of shit? Rumors. Why is Brian standing?
You're not wrong.
You're on blast, MCU Source. We getting ya, cause this is the Rumor Rundown. This is the place on YouTube where if you are confused, if you are uncertain, if you feel misled by some of the scoops and tips and leaks that you find on social media, you come here to New Rockstars. Whether you're hearing this on a podcast or watching a video version of it, we will clear things up. We will analyze every scoop. We will judge if a rumor is a scoop or a poop. I'm Eric Voss, and I'm here with co-host Jessica Clemens. Hello, Jessica.
I couldn't tell who you were at the beginning. You're a different person.
Well, not only did I have my Alf going out in public disguise here, I'm wearing the Agatha Mystery Sigil hat. Who knows what my identity is when I wear this? I have kind of the Confundus charm on you, or the Runes of Kafkal spell from Doctor Strange. This is really a delight for our audio listeners on podcasts. I know it. Maybe you heard some ruffling of fabric or some clickety-clackety-clacks of sunglasses, but I am wearing a costume because I think it brings some texture to the content.
Costume?
I showed up like this.
This is my normal attire. This is how I go to the bank.
When I'm robbing it.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, dear Lord. Don't get him started.
Well, so we are talking about all kinds of interesting rumors. We saw some fascinating rumors. Some big news came out this week from, there was a special secret screening of James Gunn's Superman in the past week. There was, and James Gunn was doing a lot of different press about his future DC plans. Some interesting rumors about Avengers Doomsday, and a bit of a mea culpa you and I have to do. Or rather, we have to go on the attack because we have to officially burn one of our sources.
You got a burn notice on you. You're blacklisted.
This is the first time we've had to do this on the Rumor Rundown. And you know what? I can taste the metallic flavor of blood in my mouth. I'm so ready. I am ready.
It's not just it's not from biting the inside of your cheek angry.
Part of it was that. Part of it is just like, we need to put one of these people in the ground.
Oh my God, I can't wait.
Their reputation. We don't ever talk about any other context of that. Are you ready for our first one?
Yes.
Okay, so it may or may not be Kevin Feige on the other side of the room, but he kind of looks like Mr. Handsome from James Gunn's Superman, who's a horrific thing that you can see in the trailers. It's a new character, and it's like a creepypasta figure, really, who's in the darkness on the other side of the room. And he is whispering, "Dost thou desire to live deliciously?" And the answer is yes.
Dost thou like the taste of butter? And I say, absolutely. Honestly, welcome him in. Go ahead. Come on in.
Come on in and yum, 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 yum.
And yum, 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 yum.
Here we go. Our very first rumor for this episode of the Rumor Rundown. This comes to us from... Oh, this is a big one. A lot of information here. Look at this.
There's sheets?
Oh, and there's photos. There's screen grabs of tweets or threads posts. Wow. Thank you. Black Phillip.
They're up in their game.
Yeah. And before we begin, an update here. Since we originally taped this episode, on Friday, June 27th, Matt Reeves and co-writer Mattson Tomlin have submitted their script for The Batman Part 2. The script is in. They shared this badass photo on social media proving it. James Gunn said on Friday during press junkets that he hadn't had a chance to read it yet at that point, but he planned to over the weekend while he was going to be traveling on a long flight. Co-CEO of DC Studios Peter Safran has read the script. Now, what that means for James Gunn's plan for their own Batman in the DCU, it has yet to be seen. Our colleague Hector Navarro teased on the break room this week from his own interviews with James Gunn for Nerdist that we might see a Batman and Superman team-up film, World's Finest, before we even see Batman Brave and the Bold come out. And that could be one of the secret scripts James Gunn is working on. Just food for thought as we continue this conversation around the Batman. Okay, so this actually comes from a well-respected journalist named Matt Bellany. Matt Bellany is the host of The Town podcast, which is one of the biggest podcasts about the movie and TV industry. This is on his newsletter called The Puck newsletter. So a lot of journalists, once they realize they're underpaid by whatever outlet they're working for, realize they kind of age out of it, and they start what's called a podcast or what's called a newsletter based off of whether their audience is based on an audio podcast network or they like to read their emails. Matt Bellany is well respected, and the reason why we're talking about it in Rumor Rundown is because it's been disputed. So this rumor is Matt Reeves is set to deliver his script for The Batman Part 2 on Monday, June 23rd. That's what this rumor is. Now, when you're listening to this podcast, it is now July 1st. But there's been an interesting saga unfolding about what James Gunn's plans are for the DC universe and how it's going to fit in with Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson, Elseworlds crime saga Batman universe. Matt Bellany was asked, have you heard about any issues between James Gunn and Matt Reeves? What's really going on with The Batman Part 2? Bellany said, I'm told Reeves is set to deliver his script for The Batman Part 2 on Monday. Not a moment too soon for DC and Warner Brothers. The DC co-heads, Gunn and Peter Safran, initially expected the script more than a year ago. It's now been 3 years since Reeves' first Batman reboot with Robert Pattinson grossed nearly $800 million and prompted the swift announcement of a sequel. So yeah, the executives are frustrated at the delay, all the way up to Warner Discovery CEO David Zaslav, who, if everything goes perfectly, won't get a new movie based on his most valuable piece of IP until October 1st, 2027, nearly 5.5 years into his tenure at the company. But issues? Rumors have circulated that DC was ready to move on from Reeves if he didn't write faster, but he's a notoriously slow filmmaker. The first Batman script took forever as well, and he had some personal issues to deal with. Gunn has pretty consistently made supportive comments about Reeves, including an interview released today. Quote, people should get off Matt's nuts because it's like, let the guy write the screenplay in the amount of time he needs to write it. Crushed nuts or not, the question is whether that delayed 2027 release would hold. A Warner's source told me they're still planning on a shoot beginning in January after Pattinson finishes Dune 3, which would provide enough time to keep the date. That's if the script and pre-production process goes smoothly from here, so we'll see. In response, James Gunn, co-head of DC Studios with Peter Safran, responded to a query on Threads that was related to this, asking James, can you confirm the rumor that the Batman Part 2 script is due to be handed in today? This was on Monday, June 23rd, and James Gunn said, it's not true. So, but he has said, I believe in other posts, James Gunn has said that the Batman script was due before the end of June. So as of yesterday might have been the deadline. So we're kind of talking about this whole thing with the Batman Part 2, why it is taking so long, whether it is actually true that the Warner Brothers executives that now include David Zaslav and James Gunn and Peter Safran are getting impatient with the writing of it, and what the breaking point is going to be. If James Gunn is going to be moving faster with his separate DC Batman project that will be canon with the, DCU of Superman and Supergirl, Batman the Brave and the Bold. That James Gunn has said in other interviews he is working on a script with a mystery writer. And he has indicated he doesn't want to say who that writer is, but I think it's someone pretty high profile or someone who must have worked on something before. You don't get to write a Batman script unless you have made something that has been successful. So what do you think about Matt Bellany's reporting? Matt Bellany's pretty trusted.
I think, that alone, but also the math is mathing. It is true. Like, it takes him a very long time to write a script, and when you rush him, we get the Joker too. So I do believe, and I would not be surprised. They made so much money off of that first Batman that, of course, Peter Safran and David Zaslav would want that second movie coming back quicker, and they have been delaying it. They've kept pushing it, and James Gunn is James Gunn isn't impatient. It's that James Gunn is like, I need that script before I even look at anything. And I can see him being a little frustrated that it's taking too long.
Yeah.
I think Matt Bellamy's right. I think all he said in his response was, it's not true, which doesn't deny that it wasn't a different day. Yeah. That doesn't say that it wasn't the end of June. I think maybe the only thing that Matt Bellamy got wrong was maybe saying the Monday, June 23rd. Because technically, is Monday the 30th?
Yeah, yesterday was the 30th.
Yesterday was the 30th. So yeah, he just got his 1 week off.
Yeah. I think what James Gunn is saying is that it wouldn't have to be that day, but I think he's saying, like, if you're someone as powerful as James Gunn is in the industry, I would say these deadlines are not firm. And that's all that he's saying. What I imagine happened is that Bellany and others in the industry were reporting on some source, someone's assistant, someone's manager or agent, or some producer who said, yeah, it might be coming in today. I don't know. It might be coming in today. He's working on this script. But realistically, James Gunn is like, I at no point demanded that it come in today. I'm not rushing him. Leave him alone. But I do think there is some truth that James Gunn is not admitting to, that if you are David Zaslav, this is a long time to go between Batman movies.
No, it is.
And Batman is, regardless of the success that Superman is probably going to have, Batman is their most valuable character at the franchise. And to go potentially 5 years, I can imagine that the pressure will increase on James Gunn to finish a treatment and a draft with this mystery writer and try to get a Batman movie out beforehand. But James Gunn right now doesn't want to rush Matt Reeves and wants his movie to be the next Batman movie. Because if there's like let's imagine there's an Alan Richardson Batman movie. You know, the guy from Reacher, who everyone wants to be the new DCU Batman. He's a built guy. He seems to have like a good character, a good sense of humor. It could be a good Batman in this version of the world. And it's like a Batman Brave and the Bold story, and we get a Damian Wayne, and maybe it's that kid who was in 28 Years Later, who's fantastic. I don't know. James Gunn could greenlight that by the end of the summer. It could go into production even before, like if the Batman Part 2 gets delayed so that it can't start by January, I would imagine some Batman movie is going to start breaking ground and shooting in January 2026.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't think James Gunn cares about the Matt Reeves Batman. I think it's fun. I think it's great. I think it makes the company a lot of money, but I also think he's preoccupied with his own DC universe. Right. And he's like, Matt Reeves can take his time. I'm still coming out with mine. But I do think that David Zaslav and Peter Safran are like, hey, they're breathing down our neck because they need that Matt Reeves Batman by now. And technically, you're still overseeing that one as well. I also do think if Matt Bellamy did see like an assistant, I do think there's still a deadline, even if it's not adhered by. So I could see them being like, hey, we would love to have this in by June 23rd. And then it's like, hey, it's not going to be in by June 23rd.
Yeah. And just to give you guys some context, since 1989, there has not been that long of a break between live action Batman appearances. So you had Tim Burton's 1989 Batman, which was really the proof of concept for superhero movies making that much money. Richard Donner's Superman did very, very well. Superman 2 did very, very well, but they did not make Batman money. Batman 89 made insane money and gave us what would eventually become the MCU. Ike Perlmutter used the money he got from the toy rights to Batman in the early 90s and basically bought out Marvel's film rights in the early 90s and bought Marvel as a company. So you had Batman 89, you had Batman Returns, and yeah, there's a bug. You had Batman Returns in 1992. You had Batman in Forever in 95. You had Batman and Robin in 90. Don't include this.
He's looking up the scoopers.
Just making sure. And you had Batman and Robin in 97. Now, that one underperformed. It was kind of viewed as an embarrassment. It's up to you on whether you agree. So it did kind of go into an exile at that point. So then it came back in 2005, Christopher Nolan's Batman. And from there was 3 years in between. I guess you had between The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, you had 4 years between those. But like we knew that Christopher Nolan was making the next one. After The Dark Knight Rises, you really only had a few years before we knew that Ben Affleck would be playing the next one. And they stuck to that release date. It came out in March 2016, Batman v Superman did. After that, Ben Affleck's Batman started to appear everywhere. He showed up that same year in the Suicide Squad. He showed up in Justice League the year after that. He was very much clearly the Batman of this universe. Shortly after that, there was plans of it being like a solo Batman movie that Ben Affleck was going to write and direct and star in. That was going to be his team up with Joe Manganiello. And then that kind of fell apart. And that project was then offered to Matt Reeves to become the Robert Pattinson Batman. And that was announced in 2019. So we're really only talking about like 2 years after the fact. And then that movie went into production. COVID happened, and then it came out in early 2022. And so to go that long and potentially even longer, over 5 years, is just longer than what we're expecting.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So like it would be different in the early 2000s when like people were figuring out how valuable Superman movies were. But since The Dark Knight made $1 billion, they don't normally take that long anymore. So I think James Gunn is underplaying how long people actually wait. I think he's saying 5 years is a normal amount of time. I respect you respecting Matt Reeves' process, James Gunn, but I think you have to acknowledge why there's impatience out there, why people are questioning the delay, like 100%. Why it's taking this long.
100%. And I also think the longer you wait, I don't think there's too much clamoring, but the longer you wait, the more people get like more frustrated, and they go back to the Ben Affleck, they go back to the Henry Cavill Superman. They're like, see, this didn't take that long. And it's like, okay, well, like, give it a second. Please stop this.
So I do think there will be a Batman movie that comes out in October 2027. I don't know if it will be Matt Reeves' Batman. If it's not Matt Reeves' Batman, I think James Gunn has enough time to work with this writer and could cast a Batman and get rolling in 2026 to easily make that deadline.
It's also not fair because Matt Reeves is a slow writer, but also it's like you got Robert Pattinson. You're dealing with everybody now, and everybody in that cast is always busy. So it's going to take forever for Matt Reeves. Once he is finished with the damn script, it's going to take forever to figure out a schedule that works for him and Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt Reeves.
The extra information I can give for anyone who's saying just make Robert Pattinson the official DCU Batman. I, as of this taping, have now seen James Gunn's Superman. I was invited to the special screening that was on the Warner Brothers lot, and I got to talk to James Gunn afterwards, and we didn't speak long. But having seen this movie, there is no way Robert Pattinson's Batman fits in this universe. This universe is just a completely different universe with different weight, different rules, a different type of gravity to it that Robert Pattinson's Batman would feel stifled if you tried to put him in this universe. And you would just like demand too many odd changes. Now, a question I still have is where would I rather see a Mr. Freeze? Because Mr. Freeze seems to fit very well in James Gunn's DCU, but there was a past version of me that could see a more grounded version of Mr. Freeze that could work really well in Matt Reeves' Batman. So I don't really know. That's
a tonal thing, I think, because I would love to see a Mr. Freeze in Matt Reeves' Batman just because he's so sad and that story is so depressing. And James Gunn's universe feels very much like Pushing Daisies, where it's like, oh, it's a dark subject, but it's all whimsy.
Yeah.
It's all whimsy and fun. And I'm like, I kind of want to see Mr. Freeze be sad about his wife dying.
Yeah. I think from what I can tell, though, the James Gunn's Gotham is going to be like a live action DCAU / Batman the Animated Series. Like, it is heightened. Fictitious things can happen. But for Clayface being like the first real rogues gallery villain that we get out of a film, like he said, it's going to be an R-rated film. But over on the podcast of our friends at DC Studios official showcase, like Coy did ask James, like, are you going to deal with actors having to struggle with trying to stay ahead of AI and AI replications of their work? And James Gunn said, yeah, that is what the Clayface movie is going to be dealing with. You're going to be dealing with an actor who's out of work because things are taking his job. So what extremes will he go to? What violent and heartbreaking extremes will a vain actor go to be able to stay in work? And so just imagine that type of villain. If it works in James Gunn's DCU, you know, there is a similar darkness and heartbreak that you could have with Mr. Freeze or anybody.
I think they're only going to have that one rated R movie for
You
a
think
very
that's
long
it?
time.
Interesting.
I think as long as David Zaslav is there, he's going to be like, what can I market and make money off of? And I don't think he can make money off of. I think that's for us. That's for us that aren't going to put money into the merchandise.
MCU, Marvel had a rated R movie with Deadpool and Wolverine, and it made $1 billion.
But that's Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
That's Deadpool and Wolverine. That is only, I would love to see, which hopefully they do. I would love to see them with any other project that's not a Ryan Reynolds Deadpool movie.
Got it.
I was like, I don't think it would work.
You are right. He did have a whole legacy
of doing poop penis jokes, which is great.
We had multiple Deadpool movies. We had seen Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in a ton of movies, and
I'm like, give me that.
It would have been.
We were prepared for that.
It's gonna be an interesting gamble in 2026 to see if they pull it off.
I don't think they're gonna. What is the MCU rated R movie that they're trying to do next? That's not a Deadpool movie.
They haven't announced any MCU.
They could easily do an X-Men movie.
I think if they do a future Deadpool and Wolverine, if they do a follow up, it might be rated R.
That. It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. But anyways, I'm very excited for that Clayface movie. Movie. Is it a movie or a series?
It's gonna be a movie. Written by Mike Flanagan.
Oh yeah, it is Mike Flanagan.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be cool.
It's just gonna be gory. It's gonna be a bunch of people getting stabbed a lot, which I love. I think
it's gonna be a lot of body horror. I think it's gonna be like chunks of faces are gonna be pulled off in frustration.
The best part is, he's just directing it. James Gunn still has to say on the people that are casted in it, right?
Yes.
Because I was like, Mike Flanagan likes working with the same 10 people. I was like, ooh, can't wait to see who it is. But Nebula could be in it. Karen Gillan. Yeah, because he loves Karen Gillan. I always forget that she started in Oculus and she's in the new movie Life of Chuck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, her and Mike Flanagan used to be homies.
All right, let's look at another rumor.
Rumor?
Thank you, Man in the Shadows.
Thank you, Shadow
blew
Man.
us a kiss.
Isn't there a Shadow Man? Isn't that like a jazz singer? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
So here we go. Our next rumor. There's so much here. This comes from James McWell. MacWL. Costume descriptions of mutants from the concept art of the Battle at the X Mansion in Avengers Doomsday.
Okay.
Okay, so here's what the post says. Remember, all of this is from a concept art of the Battle at the X Mansion that I received details on. These are art pieces. They may not end up making it to the movie. Doomsday is currently being filmed.
He put that in there because of you.
Yeah. Maybe.
He might have put that in there because of us.
Maybe.
Or maybe it could be because of other reasons, but we're always like, say that it's concept art because it's annoying when you guys put that title out.
Yep.
Sorry, keep going.
He says, Rogue wears boots, green clothes with black and white hair. Many insiders got Mystique right. She's in a white outfit with fabric between her legs. Wolverine isn't in his classic costume. He's in pants and a leather jacket. His face reminded me of a Cavill-style Wolverine. Magneto in red armor and a completely purple cape. His red helmet with purple details. Nightcrawler in all black clothing with red details using 3 fencing swords.
Oh, okay, yeah. Wait, fencing or the little? Well, we'll keep going.
Yeah. Colossus in red and yellow clothes with red boots. He will have a top knot.
Oh, okay.
Gambit in a black shirt, purple pants with black details, chains around his neck, and a hooded blazer. Storm with an all-white outfit and cape. Cyclops in classic yellow and blue. Bobby/Iceman, I don't know how to describe it. The art I saw him in is normal, just in ice form. Angel in red clothes with a white X on his chest. Psylocke in a sexy all-purple outfit with a red scarf around her waist. Jean in classic clothes like X-Men 97. And for Xavier and Beast, they don't appear in the artwork. I assume they're inside the mansion while the X-Men are outside. Magneto seems to be leading the team outside the mansion, giving the impression that he turned everyone against the Avengers. The only ones who didn't follow him appear to be Xavier and Beast, likely because they know Monica better.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Okay. What about Monica? I was using their clothing in my head to be like, okay, how many people sound like they were actually prepared for the fight and how many people just showed up? And I know Wolverine always can just wear normal clothes, but I'm like, I can see Wolverine just showing up. It looks like Storm absolutely was already there. Psylocke was already there. Or like whatever their story is for this X-Men universe, I'm like, oh, Psylocke and Storm are within the X-Mansion. They are probably one of the first people you go to.
It sounds like there's a bunch of X-Men outside the mansion. This, according to the concept art that his source sent him or he saw. I don't know how. I don't know who his source is. I don't know why these artists keep sending stuff to people like this.
It's probably because it's the most lenient thing you can send someone as a scooper. Like sending concept art is like, yeah, I think
it's multiple nodes in the telephone game. I don't think it's directly from artist to scooper. I think it's artist to friend to roommate to cousin to nephew to other roommate. Back through our weird source, then back out to the dark web to sites like 4chan where James McWall finds it.
He has been consistent about his is only being concept art, though.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is making me believe him. But again, it does not mean that it's going to be in the goddamn movie.
Agreed.
And that's the part that's just pissing me off is because people immediately see the concept art and go, well, why didn't you bring up the match report things? And I'm like, because it's not going to be in the damn movie.
Here's what I'll say. At some node in this telephone game, someone was very focused on the cuts of female outfits.
Just because it says sexy Psylocke.
Well, it said almost with a tone of disappointment and a red scarf around her waist.
She always has the scarf.
I don't know. I think he's saying that like normally Psylocke has the,
Yeah, she always does.
And I think he's saying, but some of it was hidden by the red scarf.
I wasn't getting that. But I also am like, whose problem that is? Not on him, on the people that design their goddamn outfits. So that is me getting mad.
It was the 80s. That's the closest to pornography some kids could find.
Well, I can't even play as her in Marvel Rivals because I feel disgusting. I feel like I feel like a monster when I play as her.
Well, don't you think just the description of Mystique as well? With some fabric between her legs? I'm like, don't talk about what's between her legs.
That's the white dress that she wears that has the slit down here.
Can't you just say similar to this outfit in this comic issue?
You pro-feminist, me anti.
It's just you don't need to lean into that focus is all I'm saying.
White fabric loincloth, too long.
Hot, but she doesn't know it.
Wish she would pull it out. I don't know what she's pulling out, but something. I like that they're going with the Mystique in the white dress, though. I hope that's what they're going with.
Biting her lower lip.
She puts her finger into her mouth and looks at me seductively. What concept?
Next door kind of girl, farm girl kind of way.
What concept are you looking at? Oh god.
Rogue with that pouty, teasy look she's known for. Like, I know.
He could be, and the thing I will say, the only thing to your credit is he could have described Bobby Iceman and Angel as very sexy people, and he didn't.
And you're just showing your true colors.
Do you think we're getting an Angel and Bobby?
Yeah, I think we're gonna get
all of them?
Well, and then getting a Wolverine is also news because Hugh Jackman was not on the Avengers list.
But we've seen the little kind of I don't want to say leaks or scoops, but the Cyclops.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get all these characters.
I don't think we're gonna get Angel and.
I don't think we're gonna get Angel. I don't think we're gonna get Psylocke. I don't think we're gonna get Colossus. I think we'll get Mystique and we'll get Nightcrawler, which is already confirmed. And I think we'll get maybe one of these characters. Jean Grey, maybe.
Wouldn't it be annoying to get them at the beginning and then only like 5 of them go?
Yes.
Because I was like, I don't think I want to see a Psylocke and see an Iceman and see a Angel just for them not to show up again. But also because I know that in the future, when you guys do recast them, it would be a different group of people. And why would you even show us to them in the first place?
If they're in the movie, they're in the movie. Now, I have to give James some credit for just saying this is based on the concept art that he saw and doing that disclaimer at the top of it. We're making the world a better place, Jess. People are now starting to put some.
And sometimes concept art does happen, but it also doesn't. And I don't like when people immediately rely on the fact that concept, because it's literally thousands of concept art.
Yeah,
I've doodled up concept art once in my life. Did it go anywhere? Absolutely not.
I have doodled concept art and it will never leave my computer.
How sexy is it? Ooh. Let's just say Mystique, longer white dress.
It covers them up. I like a little mystery. Nothing is form-fitting. Everything's baggy. Everyone's in sweatpants and hoodies.
You know that when you're poor and you're a Monopoly man and you have that little round barrel you're sitting
Everyone's wearing potato sacks.
Everyone's wearing potato sacks. This is a fun concept.
Everyone is my sexy art is just people from the other side of their closed door rooms. And it's just a shot of their dressing room door with their name on it. And then you leave the rest to the
You
imagination.
go, ooh, this one just has the star, no name on it.
Can you imagine what they're doing in there? Sitting on the couch, scrolling through their phone while wearing a modest outfit. And I'm not going to describe it because all I care about is their soul and their intelligence. I'm one of the good guys, ladies.
Yeah, as you wear that hat and that the collar popped to your
There's
ears
nothing
and
under
dark
this.
aviator sunglasses. Yeah, as you flash everybody on your way to the office.
My wife is currently just posting on the women's forums of LA. Avoid this
Please,
man.
if you see my husband, run the opposite direction. He's a deviant.
He's a freak.
He's a freak. If you see him in the local Trader Joe's, run.
No, realistically, Kelly would just be like, he went outside at some point? What? I can't get him to take my son on walks. I'm like, we get exercise inside the house, Kelly.
Oh my God.
Look, he's walking
I'm
fine.
on Kelly's side. I'm on Kelly's side.
Okay, well, we're going to rate whether this is a scoop or a poop at the end. We have one more from our friend over in the shadows who is very insistent that we open this final. All right. So this is about MCU Source from a scooper named Eric Voss on the new Rockstars Slack network.
Okay.
That says MCU Source is a hack and a liar trolling people.
Is a hack and say it again?
A hack and a liar trolling people.
I don't think that's one part of that is inaccurate.
I think this is true. So we, in past episodes, we brought up MCU Source on Twitter as if they were one of the other scoopers that's out there. My Time to Shine Hello, Daniel RPK, Jeff Snyder, and MCU Source is not.
No, they're pulling our chain, dude.
They are a parody account that sometimes posts stuff that feels like a real scoop.
And that's I want to strangle him. Eric doesn't, but I do. But the only thing, a part of my irritation is mainly in the fact that like there are, there's a playoff Total Film. Total Film has like a parody account.
Yeah.
Like there's other parody accounts.
Busting film.
Yeah,
is
just
one.
busting film. Yeah, and you don't notice it, but like it's very subtle. But I'm like, oh, these are funny. These are funny. You get it. It's whatever. This person, I genuinely is like. At first, they probably wanted to be a Source account, and then they were like, I'm just going to make crazy things and have a lot of followers.
Right.
Now.
So when we talked about their Agatha scoop and Agatha season 2 scoop, the reason they posted that is because they know that anything Agatha related is going to get a lot of engagement.
Yeah, 100.
And that's okay if you want to have a bit of fun with the Agatha people. I think you should still be pretty honest that you're a parody account. However, the type of parody posts they're making are things that are rage bait.
It's rage bait.
And it does not, it actually leads to harm. So the example we're going to give here is Bella Ramsey will appear in Avengers Doomsday as a variant of Tony Stark / Iron Man.
It's a bit, but it's the worst bit you could possibly do.
I get where you're going
right now.
with that. And they've done similar posts in the past, and we should have noticed this when we talked about it on the show.
We always said they were poop. I thought they were very fun.
We should have been even included. And these are things that get a lot of traction, and that's why we brought it up. Is like people are now resharing this as if it's a rumor. And I don't know if it was posted with that intention. Another one they posted is Ryan Gosling confirmed to be the new T'Challa of the MCU. Now that I think is bold-faced, stupid and
dumb.
silly, and no one believes this. But when you say that Bella Ramsey will appear in Avengers Doomsday as a variant of Tony Stark Iron Man, I understand they may look at an actor like Bella Ramsey and get some laughs with your buddies talking about how they act, the casting of Bella in The Last of Us, and comparing them to how you imagine Ellie should look in the games based off of your assumptions from the games. But the fact of the matter is a lot of the things that have been said about Bella Ramsey are just straight up body shaming. They're homophobic. They are sexist. They're really cruel. And whether or not you want to joke around with your friends and your weird private text messages is one thing. To post this as something that is going to get a knee-jerk reaction of coming from an account that, whether or not you agree with it, is a source of scoops for people. It's just going to increase and fan those flames and make the world a worse place. And I think that's a shitty way to make your jokes on Twitter.
And because it's rage bait, there's new people that are finding it. It's not there's a lot of people within the MCU network that is like, oh, we know MCU Source is just full of shit. But there's people that are new that click onto that rage bait just because it exists. It's what Ironheart is going through right now. Immediately, just because it's Ironheart, it's immediately going to get hit. So if you put like Dominic Thorne into anything else, people are going to immediately go to this for the traction of just shitting on Dominic Thorne. And that's the same thing with Bella Ramsey. I'm like, the Bella Ramsey had to deal with so much during The Last of Us, and you just put like a target on their back for more.
Yeah.
Why would you use Bella Ramsey?
And I get it. I can say that I didn't like all of Bella Ramsey's acting in The Last of Us season 2. There was some writing that just like clearly did not connect with the performer, and just not great writing in some of those scenes. And I can criticize it. I can criticize it. I can say that, you know, sometimes you cast a young actor for one season of a show and you don't have to stay with that actor in all seasons of the show. I can say maybe Caitlin Dever would have been a better season 2 Ellie. I think it would have negative consequences in other ways, you know, but I can criticize someone's acting, but just specifically the extent you guys are doing for Bella Ramsey, it is now just mean, and it's not a good look. And I think what we're seeing now is there are some parody scoopers out there, and there are other YouTubers we know who do this all the time, and they are not as good at crafting jokes. They think they understand how their audience is going to take it, and they don't understand that a lot of the people who follow them do not have the ability to analyze, to know when something's a joke. Yeah. And they're going to reshare it to very dark corners, and it's just going to lead to a lot of arguments and negativity. And I just think, like, I'll just say this. No influencer is as funny as they think they are. Myself included. That's why I stopped like putting jokes at the top of my videos, because I'm like, hey, yeah, I did improv and sketch comedy for a long time, and I was pretty successful with it. But on YouTube, humor just works differently. So a lot, like, I think Dropout on YouTube is the one place where I'm like, they are actually funny.
Well, sketch comedy.
Right.
Accompanied only for sketch comedy.
Because they are people who I have watched live. They are people who I've been on improv teams with, who have coached me in improv, and they have made me laugh my ass off. And I just know how funny they actually are. But there's a lot of other places where they like think of themselves as funny, or think of that as part of their brand, like their humor. And honestly, I cringe whenever people make those kind of jokes. I'm just like, you're not that good. You're really not that good. Now, people are gonna think I'm bashing the bits we do on The Break Room. No, because what I love about The Break Room is like the comedy comes from a place of just like authentic, just goofing around. It's not like I'm going to structure a bit right now. I'm not going to put on a costume of a popped collar with sunglasses and a hat.
I don't see the joke, because this is what you normally do.
I will tell you, what I'm doing is not funny in the least. It is not funny. It is maybe a bit charming. Maybe it brings a bit of a texture to what we're doing, but I will not say, subscribe to New Rockstars. You're gonna laugh real hard at Eric Voss's videos. No, that's not what I am trying to do. That's not, every once in a while I may make a comment in jest, but that's not part of what I am setting out to do. Okay. So anyway, I'm not putting that on you, Jess. I'm just saying I think YouTube and social media would work a bit better if people stopped going for humor as much and left the humor to the comedians.
Too bad that's never gonna happen.
No, it won't.
That's never gonna happen, especially with like the hole that YouTube has.
Well, people think that my trailer reaction and my desire to make comedy content means that people want me to be funny. And no, they probably just follow you because you were the first person to make a video about Avengers Endgame's trailer. And that's why you have followers. It doesn't mean people find you funny.
I don't even know. I'm like, try telling most of the people on YouTube.
Oh yeah, no,
they're not gonna
no one's
listen.
gonna listen to me. And in fact, people are gonna be
people find me funny.
If this gets around, people are gonna be like, look, Eric, you try to be funny here.
They're gonna.
And in response to that, I say, when I go back and watch those videos, I cringe, and part of me wants to die when I see that, because humor never ages well. Never. It's very rare when a comedian's humor ages well, and they are paid big bucks for it, as they should be. Because they have a gift that I do not have. Well, okay. So I think we can say, MCU Source, you are a permanent poop and you are banned from this show.
Permanent poop.
Permanent poop. We will never discuss you on this show ever again. Hey, maybe you just made a mistake. But learn from this.
All of this all of this just be like, maybe it was just.
We were rooting for you.
We were rooting
Learn
for
from
you.
this.
I thought you were funny, and then I didn't like how you do things.
So we have 2 scoops to grade. We have Matt Bellany's speculation about the timeline of the script submission for Matt Reeves' The Batman, and just this general speculation over whether this movie is still going to happen. And then we have this scoop about the Avengers Doomsday X-Men costumes.
I think because I really like the Matt Bellany scoop a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's a really great, I think this is a great scoop.
I think it's a scoop.
I love this. I think it's such a great scoop that James Gunn had to respond about it.
Yes.
Like that is a great scoop. And because that's such a great scoop, I'm giving this one poop.
Yeah.
Because this is just too good. This is just really good. And concept art, like I'm tired of it. I'm not tired of it. I'm more so tired of the discourse behind it. But I do think it's cool. I just don't think it's like groundbreaking. And I know I don't usually measure my scoops on like what's groundbreaking. I measure it on if it's a scoop, really. But because this one is just such a good scoop, Matt Bellany, good job. Good job, Matt Bellany.
Yep. The scoop, I believe Matt Bellany is a great journalist.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people out there who have newsletters. And some of them are really great. And I want to draw a clearer line between those who have like a good reputation in this industry versus some who are just trying to mimic the people who have good reputations in this industry. And I think Matt Bellany's one of the good ones. So
Hey, it can falter.
yeah.
It can fall. Give it about 6 years. It can falter, but right now it's good.
Yeah.
Keep up at it.
And then James Mac, we appreciate the context you added to this post, but at the end of the day, I think it is concept art, and I have to give it a poop as well. All right, so those are our scoops and our poops. It got pretty real this episode.
Yeah, it got so real.
I feel a little dicey about what I said. I don't know if I should have said those things.
I think I said I
feel
was gonna choke someone, so I think you're fine.
I feel like I regret saying what I said. I feel like I'm not funny enough to tell people that they're not funny.
I think it's okay to say no one's funny. Comedy has changed so much, and there's such a this is a bad example, but even recently, UCB New York is under fire for having a very, very bad Juneteenth comedy show in which there was too much racism in the sketches.
Oh my God.
And that is UCB New York. Like, that was where I was like, oh, these are my people. Like, I was studying under these people. A lot of the people that were in the show, I have written with before. And I was like, oh, I think comedy changes, and it's for different people and what they want. And when I say that, I'm like, Dropout fills my need for comedy. Some SNL feels my need for comedy, but majority of comedy nowadays is just not what it used to be.
Hey, maybe UCB should have been criticized for doing overly formulaic heralds.
Let me tell you
where
about
they just lead with pattern games and word association and just do very mathematical.
Don't start me.
Doing mathematical game progression.
Don't start
analogous
me.
second beats, analogous third beats. Couldn't you find something more tangential and thematically connected to the overall show so it's not just plug and play comedy? I say this as someone who auditioned several times for a UCB Herald team and never got on.
Me, you, and John. I was invited every single time. And for some reason I said, why are you guys inviting me if I'm not going to make a team? Sorry, I am very bitter about the pyramid scheme that was UCB. That is just Jessica Clemens. No one else has to have that opinion.
Hey, you know what? Overall, I really loved my experience at UCB.
I guess my teacher was Brandon Lee Mulligan, and I had a great time.
Brandon was one of my coaches. That's what I refer to. On a team I was on with Katie Maravich.
Oh, there you go.
Both of them, two of the people I mentioned who made me laugh my ass off constantly. One of my other teachers at UCB, Alex Berg, working at New Rockstars.
And it's so funny because when you guys were like, yeah, Berg from UCB, I was like, I don't know who that is.
And one of the funniest people you can ever watch perform. If you're ever in LA, watch his shows. He's so good.
I showed up late, so I didn't know who Berg was. I knew who Beth was, but I didn't know who Berg was.
It's just kind of fun to make fun of UCB, but you know what? Some of the funniest people have come through it.
They all came out there because you all have to struggle for what you want at UCB. I'll give you that. I think Groundlings, you also have to struggle, but at least there's only 5 teams, so you don't really, you're like, oh, I'm beefing with everybody. UCB, they make it feel like you're gonna get it, and then
that was I used to just care so much about all the drama. I would be so defensive and get in such heated arguments over what correct improv was. I'm so glad I don't do that anymore.
And that's why I have such a bitter resentment for a lot of improv, is because I was like, it made me an animal. It made me a monster of a person.
It made me my worst self.
I had a breakdown. I was like, you know what? maybe I need to pull away from theater for now.
Yeah. I mean, I met my wife through improv, and it's the best thing I got out of it. That plus a bunch of friendships.
No debt?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I'm not in debt anymore. At the time, yeah. At some point,
emotionally and with your money?
After 6 years of doing it, I counted up all the money I had spent on improv classes, coaching, and festival submissions.
Oh, no.
Everything. And it was $12,000 or something like that.
Keep in mind, we're all very young.
I was
just got
broke.
to LA.
I was broke. I was making like $31,000 a year, like after 4 years of being at a job.
I just kept
tough.
putting it on credit cards. I don't have those credit cards anymore because I stopped doing improv for a minute. But
I lived very cheaply. I was able to get like the first apartment I had in LA was like $500 a month.
Oh, that's nice.
I was back in 2010 because it was
roommates?
like a renovated building with like the heat didn't work.
Were you by yourself?
It was me and a roommate.
Yeah,
we each paid $500. Yeah.
Was it one bathroom?
Yeah, it was one bathroom. It was in the valley.
I'm like,
yeah. And so I didn't eat. Like I would go find free food at places at other improv shows. And I would try to work as a PA on places that had meals. And even if it was a cold craft services, I would just load my pockets with snacks and I would eat that for
That's what people would do for like at midnight at like the comedy shows that like Comedy Central does a lot of the time. Any like Ellen show or anything is like, yeah, you're gonna get food if you go there.
Yeah.
Oh my, it's so crazy to be like, yeah, out of college you like try to go jump into your jobs. I'm like, in entertainment, you don't.
You work freelance for years.
You crumble for a minute.
Yeah. And I couldn't even get a freelance job for like a year. I just got some crappy job that was part-time. And by part-time, it was like 12 hours a week sometimes as a CBS page.
Ooh.
That was my first job. And God.
This is so crazy. I got triggered today twice now. Ghost. And now, and then the spirit of old Jessica doing comedy in LA, first moving here. I can't go back.
No.
Please do not.
Have you ever dreamed of like going back and doing a show at UCB or Ground Lanes or something?
No, I think about it sometimes okay. When I was on my improv team, we were signed up for as many shows as we could do. So it was always like 11:30 p.m. slot
at the
times.
clubhouse.
Yeah, the clubhouse.
Upstairs
At the
clubhouse.
clubhouse.
Yeah.
And it kind of triggers me now. I went to that area of town and I was like, I gotta get out of here.
You went to that parking lot with the Johns and the Fat Burger?
And then taking that money, the tip money or whatever, and getting the beers and coming back for everybody. And
the money just goes to buying the beers for the next
beers
time.
And coming back to the show. And then it's my boyfriend at the time and like someone else's mom and the other team waiting to perform.
Yeah, the other team who's like not paying attention. Most of them are late. There's one person from the team who's actually watching your show.
But I'll tell you what. They gave me pity laughs. I'm not going to get into who didn't give me pity laughs, but I'll tell you who gave me pity laughs, those people. Those people were straight up great people.
All I will say is the world of LA comedy and the overlap with YouTubers in LA. Yeah. It is such a small world. So we have to be careful names that we name.
But there is someone.
There's someone. You may know them. We'll leave it there. That'll be for a future episode of the Rumor Rundown.
It is a rumor.
It is a rumor. Thank you so much for joining us. And please show us some grace and don't like be too mean to us because I realize I'm an idiot and I'm just trying to help shine a light on what is true out there. But follow Jessica at Lulu_Clemens. Follow me at EA Voss. Subscribe to all the channels on the New Rockstars Network, including our underground paid subscription audio thing. If you want to be part of that, we kind of go into some off-topic stuff that's kind of fun if you are able to support us that way. Thanks so much to Brian Kim, who produced and edited this episode of the Rumor Rundown. And we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.
Sweet baby angel. Oh no, the new Rockstars Flasher's back!